up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Shock and Awe Toy Reviews. Two idiots, one genius, a camera, and a review. I'm Wilson. My partner sitting next to me is the bearded god of thunder himself,
Mr. Berg.
And we have our favorite guest reviewer,
Topher.
And what are we taking a look at in this review?
Today we are looking at Marauder Task Force's K9s.
Were these Kickstarters or were they just a regular?
These were part of a Kickstarter. That particular Kickstarter that was run by Marauder Task Force featured the K9s. So that Kickstarter was fully funded, many stretch goals, as has been the case in the past with Marauder Task Force. And then right on schedule, we got our toys. I didn't get every single thing from the Kickstarter, but when I saw these dogs, I knew that these were going to be a must-have. Just to clear up a few things in advance, these are in a 1/18th scale, so basically your G.I. Joe scale. G.I. Joe in particular has had many dogs in its line, in its run. We've had Snake Eyes' dog, Rick.
Timber.
We had Junkyard's dog.
Mutt.
We had... Oh, someone's going to crucify us on this one. Is it Order's dog Law, or is it Law's dog Order? Someone comment and let us know, because we're too lazy to look it up right at the moment. There have been plenty of dogs, but for any of you who have ever played with G.I. Joe guys, you know that the dogs are typically a solid piece of plastic. So you have nice sculpts on the dogs here. I think the proportions are really well done. They actually look like real dogs. The paint is pretty simple for the most part. It's molded in one color and then has a little bit of paint application on the back. So you get really great paint work, particularly on the head and particularly in the eyes. Almost kind of an emotive paint work, I think. They actually look like dogs. You know, they look like they're looking at you. And you also get some paint inside the mouth here. You got paintwork on the teeth.
Spoilers, articulated jaw.
Indeed. And you can see that, you know, you have some different colors on the different dogs. I think that the paint really works well in this scale. One of the things that I think works well for the paint, you know, the sort of edge that they've created on the paint doesn't look like, well, here's where they painted it and here's where it's unpainted. It kind of blends in. Mm-hmm. So if you didn't know any better, you wouldn't even think about the fact that, oh, that one color is painted and the other one isn't.
I think they're better from the side. Dead on, they kind of got a weird, for me. I don't know. Just Berg being Berg, it looks kind of weird from the front.
You know, if you think about a dog, most of the time, I think we think about dogs more in a profile or in like a 3/4 as opposed to straight on. There is something about just the image of a dog that we don't see as often in a
Usually
sense.
There's a tongue licking me. I'm going, no, I'm allergic.
Not only are the proportions on the sculpt good, you have really nicely detailed fur throughout. Paint and sculpt, I think, overall, just really, really nice.
Yeah.
They did a great job, actually, too, distinguishing the kind of dogs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell that's a German Shepherd you're holding.
Sure.
The other one's like a husky.
Yeah, and that other one is almost kind of wolfish.
Yeah.
These are the exact same sculpts. There's no sculpt difference between the dogs at all. The only differences are in the paint, which really...
They don't have different heads?
Nope, they are
really?
even the same head sculpt. But this is a nice way to demonstrate how much difference paint can make on a sculpt. Just by changing the paint, you would even think that, wow, these must have different...
There's no way
it's
that German Shepherd has the same lengths now.
I'm telling you, it's exactly the same. It's a trick of the eye because, you know, here you have no black and here you do, so that seems to shorten it up visually, but nope, it's
kind of why you need to trim your pubes because it makes your dick look bigger. You know what I mean? Think about it.
Articulation-wise, each leg has a ball joint in the shoulder, so you can have a nice range of motion here. There's a ball hinge in the middle of the leg, and there's a ball hinge at the ankle. And that's the same on all 4 limbs. So you have a very nice range of motion in and out, and you can pose the dog in all sorts of natural poses. On the hind legs, you have an additional ball hinge joint so that it can follow the actual anatomy of a real dog. You have a ball hinge joint on the tail. You have a ball socket at the sort of waist of the dog. Although this reminds me of the, you know, if you put pants on an elephant, how does it wear pants thing?
Nope.
So we're not going to get into that.
Are you high too?
You have a swivel joint here. You have a ball hinge on the head. This ball hinge at the base of the skull is a little bit limited by the sculpt. And then, of course, you have the hinge on the jaw. So you have a tremendous number of joints, and it translates well to great posability. You can get your dog into a play pose. You can have your dog laying down and reclining. I found that the only pose that I couldn't get quite the way I wanted to was the dog sitting on its haunches. And that's because you can't quite get this to fold up the way you would want it to in order for it to sit. You can kind of fake it and do an approximation of sitting on its haunches, but it's not quite... I mean, for as good as these poses look, it's not quite there, and that's okay.
Laying down pose, I must say, you did a fantastic job.
Can I ask a Wilson question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can they lick their nuts?
The range of posability matches sort of the purpose of these figures. The purpose mainly being to be an accompaniment to their military figures.
Gotcha.
So, your bomb-sniffing dogs and your attack dogs and your guard dogs and things like that. And they do all of those types of poses really, really well. For the diorama use that you would want them for, they really nail it. So these guys come with lots of different accessories for lots of different play options. Each dog is going to come with the following. 2 of these sort of body harness, body armor, vest thingies. I don't know if there's an actual proper term for what they are within, military or police dogs. I don't know. But they just slip on over the dog's head, and then they sort of button on the bottom. So you have those vests. These vests have the little holes in them for Marauder Task Force accessories. You get some pouches here, so you can put some saddlebags on your dog. There's a sort of, like communications, GPS thing. So if you have a search and rescue dog who's going to be digging around for somebody, you can track where your dog is going. There's a handle that goes on there if you need to handle your dog. There's a muzzle if your dog is very angry. There are doggles, which is a real thing.
Ow.
It is a real thing.
And what brand doggles are they?
Ray-Ban. There's a leash that can sort of snap around any one of the dog's necks. There's an alternative leash that is designed to peg into this alternative neck piece. Now, this neck piece has a sculpted collar, which lays a little bit more authentically, so you have some fur that's sculpted over the collar if you want something that looks a little bit better. There's also a little bone for your hungry mutt.
Awesome.
And there's also an alternative head, an angry face. This one does not have a hinged jaw, but it is plenty pissed off.
It looks great. I like those heads better.
Each dog comes with that much stuff, and the different dogs come with those things in their respective colors. A lot of their figures are almost kind of like a kit in the sense that you get lots and lots and lots of pieces, more pieces than you would ever probably need or want to use with them, and you can kind of put it together to make it what you want. The nice thing about that is that even though you get all this stuff and a great figure, it's not at a terrifying price point that destroys you. I want to say that these were maybe $24.
For 3 of them?
No,
per dog.
Per figure.
So they're in the price range of like a hex guy.
But, much like a Hax guy, you get
a
tons of stuff. So, considering that you're talking about a very small company, I think that price point is right where it needs to be.
And just for a sense of scale,
We have Boss Fights Night of Asperity. We have Marauder Task Force Special Ops figure, G.I. Joe 25th Anniversary Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe 25th Anniversary Storm Shadow, a Marvel Universe Hulk version, I don't know what, someone tell me, and the vintage Star Wars Range Trooper.
And here's a side comparison to Wilson's own son's awesome Lego design. Shout out for making this awesome Lego, which fits in great with these guys. And in case you're wondering, yes, they can pass the Shockana patented piss on a shitty toy pose. As Wilson once said, down to the nitty gritty, the bottom line, the final answer, I'm going to give them a 4.5 out of 5 hammers. They would get 5 out of 5 if they were sanctioned scale because
that's your one true scale.
Because that is my one true scale, and that would get me one step closer to getting a 6-inch Storm Shadow that had thigh swivel.
What a great answer.
Well, there you go. What do you think, Wilson?
I like them a lot. I love the articulation and the paint, and they look great. And I love all the stuff that comes with them. It'd be kind of cool to have at least one unique piece go with each dog. So they get like a 4.5 out of 5 for me. I just think the German Shepherd one looks weird a little bit. Well, it's just amazing. I'm amazed that that's the same thing. I mean, they look really good. I kind of want one, but I kind of want a whole set. Like, if you want a ton of them, it's expensive. Like, really expensive.
I'm going to go ahead and give him a 5 because even though I can theoretically see some tiny areas, room for improvement, I really couldn't make a suggestion of how to improve that. Like, I guess you could give me an alternate set of hind legs that were a solid sculpt so that you could get a proper sitting position.
Fucking dog lovers.
Well, but that's the thing. Like,
can you get them in a humping?
But like,
I
don't
humping each other.
Well, that's not really what I'm trying to talk about.
I know, but I'm just wondering. Just came to mind.
Well, this is my time. So, like I said, minor things to improve on, but I don't really know how I'd improve on them. More than anything else, they're a lot of fun to play with. And I love a toy that when it's sitting on the table in front of you, you just kind of want to pick it up and keep fiddling with it. And you can get these guys in all sorts of great poses and fun poses. And they're wonderful accompaniments to your great figures that you love. Like, I mean, come on. Look at Snake Eyes riding Timber. Doesn't that make Snake Eyes a better figure now?
Makes the world a better place.
So that's been it for another episode of Shocking Out Toy Reviews. We'd like to thank Uncle Topher for stopping on by and sharing these delightful puppies with us. Follow us on the Facebook. If you want to give us some money, you can check out our Patreon. We're also all on Twitter. All that's in the show notes, blah, blah, blah. Wilson, try and say something not stupid.
Not possible.
Well done.